The first rays of the morning sun stretched across the skyline of Nairobi, painting the city in shades of gold and orange. Mad Hatters honked impatiently. Street vendors arranged their fruits and vegetables, and office workers hurried along the sidewalks with cups of tea in their hands. Among them was Brian Camo, a 28-year-old accountant who had recently landed a promising job at one of the largest investment companies in Kenya. Brian was known as a disciplined and hardworking young man. Every morning, before heading to the office, he stopped at a modest restaurant called Sunrise Restaurant, a place famous for its hot mandazi, fresh chapati, and strong Kenyan tea. But on this particular Monday, something unexpected happened. As he entered the restaurant, a young waitress approached with a bright smile. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Sunrise Restaurant." Looked up and froze for a second. The waitress was beautiful, not in the glamorous magazine cover kind of way, but in a warm, natural, and peaceful way. Her name tag read Lydia Wanjiku. She had kind eyes, neatly braided hair, and a smile that seemed capable of making even a stressful morning feel lighter. "Table for one?" she asked politely. "Yes, please," Brian replied, slightly nervous for reasons he could not explain. She led him to a window seat. "What would you like today?" "Tea and chapati." She smiled again, coming right away. Brian watched her move gracefully between tables, greeting customers with respect and patience. He noticed something rare. She treated the wealthy businessman in a suit and the old watchman eating a single mandazi with exactly the same kindness. That impressed him. When she returned with his breakfast, she placed the plate carefully in front of him. "Enjoy your meal." "You," Brian said. "You're welcome." That was all, a conversation lasting less than 30 seconds. Yet as Brian walked to work afterward, he found himself smiling. The next morning he returned. Lydia recognized him immediately. "Good morning, Mr. Brian." "Good morning, Brian. The usual tea and chapati," he laughed. "You remembered." "I try to remember every regular customer." "Well, that's impressive." From that day onward, Brian became a regular. Every morning they exchanged a few words. "How is work?" "Busy." "How is the restaurant?" "Always busy." Sometimes they talked about traffic, sometimes about football, sometimes about the unpredictable Nairobi weather. Weeks turned into months. One evening after work, Brian found Lydia standing outside the restaurant waiting for a bus. Dark clouds gathered overhead. Rain began to fall. "You're still waiting?" Brian asked, lowering his car window. "Yes, the buses are taking forever." "I can give you a ride." "No, I don't want to trouble you." "It's raining. Please." A brief hesitation, she agreed. During the drive, they discovered they lived in neighboring estates. They talked about their families. Lydia revealed that she had moved to Nairobi from Nyeri after finishing hospitality college. She worked long hours to support her widowed mother and younger brother back home. Brian was touched by her dedication. "You work 6 days a week and still send money home." She nodded. "Family comes first." Those words stayed with him. When they reached her apartment, she smiled. "Thank you for the ride." "Anytime." As she disappeared behind the gate, Brian remained in the car for several seconds. For the first time in years, he felt something he had not expected. Hope. From that evening onward, their friendship deepened naturally. Brian occasionally waited after Lydia's shift ended so they could have tea together at a nearby cafe. They discovered they both loved gospel music. They both dreamed of owning a home one day. They both believed that honesty mattered more than wealth. Lydia never asked Brian for money. Brian never tried to impress her with expensive gifts. Their relationship grew through conversations, laughter, shared dreams, and mutual respect. One Saturday, Brian invited her to Karura Forest for a walk. As they strolled beneath the tall trees, Lydia laughed at one of Brian's terrible jokes. "You're not funny," she said, wiping tears of laughter from her eyes. "Extremely funny." "You're lucky I'm polite." Looked at her and smiled. "Lucky I met you." She became quiet. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The breeze rustled through the leaves, birds sang above them, and somewhere deep inside both of their hearts, friendship quietly began transforming into love. That evening, as Lydia returned to her small apartment, she looked at the stars through her window and whispered a prayer. "Lord, if this man is meant for me, guide our path." She had no idea that the journey ahead would take her from a tiny restaurant to unimaginable wealth, heartbreak, betrayal, and a destiny neither of them could have imagined.